Now that it's winter time, it's time to go over a winter deck. Ice Barrier. It's a deck filled with a bunch of monsters that are tiny little floodgates and big, powerful Synchro monsters. Some of the most powerful Synchro monsters that has ever existed. Oh, and it's also known as being one of the worst decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm gonna start with this one. So there's a few different sets of cards. This is one of the generals. Also, the archetype's part of the dual terminal storyline. I only know about this because of lore videos I've seen on the internet. Anyway, this general, he's a water warrior. You can see that water line. His stats don't matter. It's like for he's level 8. During the main phase, you can normal summon an additional ice barrier. Not bad. An extra normal summon just for a level 8 monster. So if I tribute 2 monsters, then I can get another monster. Alright, what about our next monster? Another general, level 7, still takes 2 monsters. Some pretty decent stats. Water warrior. When it's returned during the end phase, you can target one ice barrier monster in your graveyard, accept copies of itself, pass or summon it. Alright, I don't mind that. You get more monsters for a 2 tribute monster. And next, also level 7, water. Medium of the ice barrier, spellcaster. If your opponent controls 4 or more cards than you can special summon this card from your hand. Your opponent can only activate 1 spell trap card each turn. Ugh. That's really all it does? Just prevents your opponent doing spell trap cards as long as you have this level 7 monster in your field. And you can special summon with its own effect, but that's really difficult. Your opponent's gonna need at least 5 cards on their field. And you only have this with 4 cards in your field, and you have to have this in your hand. If you have anything else in your field, it has to add one more, then one more. Eventually, if your opponent doesn't have enough cards, you just can't summon this. There is cards in the Naturia archetype that do what this does, but better. It's Rose Whip. Rose Whip, I think it's called Rose Whip. It just prevents your opponent from activating anything more than 1 spell trap. Our next card, it's another general. It's level 6. You can see the defense and attack. It's water. When your opponent's monster effect on the field resolves, they discard 1 card or negate their effect. Okay, so it's a monster negate. Or your opponent discards a card. And it doesn't activate. I don't see a colon. Yeah, no colon. So they can just, you use this, your opponent either has to discard a card or negate their effect. Interesting. You got a hit hand disruption, but if you're doing this, it's a level 6, you need to tribute 1 monster. This is probably the most powerful card we've read so far. Diffusion of the Ice Barrier? If I don't pronounce it correctly, it makes perfect sense. If this card's normal or flip summon, gross. It's level 6, so you need to tribute it. And you're gonna flip summon it, and you're gonna put it face down. Okay. Change it to defense position. Okay. Ice Barrier monsters you control can't be destroyed by spell trap cards. So battle is fine. If you put this face down, your opponent attacks it. It's flip summoned. Your opponent goes to attack it. Oh look, it's destroyed by a battle. Or if you just normal summon it to your field, it goes to defense mode. And non-optional goes to defense mode. And now everything's indestructible by spell trap card effects. But what about monster effects? What about non-destruction effects? Another general, level 5 this time. You can see the stats. I'm going to scroll down. This one's long. Spell and trap cards sent from the field to your opponent's graveyard are banished instead. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If your opponent controls a monster and you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal special, you can add 1 Ice Barrier spell trap from your deck to your hand. Actually, this one's not that bad. It has a pretty easy way to summon it to your field. It's just if your opponent controls a monster and controls an ice barrier, you can just summon to your field. So turn, it's only your opponent's ability first, effectively, is all it means. I don't know, unless they're playing... I can't think of any deck that would not play monsters on their first turn. And you gotta add another card to your hand. And your opponent's spawn trap gets banished, so Sky Striker, it sounds pretty cool to me. Like I said, it's a deck full of tiny little floodgates. I'm gonna have to scroll down. If this card is tribute summon, special summon that token with those stats in attack position to your opponent's field. This token can't be traded for tribute summon. It can still be used for link summon, can still be used for fusion summon technically, synchro summon, but not tribute summoning. It can also be tributed by other effects, be destroyed if they're playing Dino. All you do is take out one of your opponent's zones, but not even permanently. It's level 5, so you need to tribute it, and it's on tribute summon, so there's no other way to activate it. This card sucks. Samurai of the Ice Barrier. Level 4, finally. I think that means the rest of them are also going to be level 4. 1800 attack. When this face-up card attacks, and change... If this face-up attack position card is changed to face-up defense position, destroy this card, and if you do draw one card... What? Okay, so... Almost a minute. Attack. Your opponent takes their turn, and somehow this thing survives. Your turn comes around. You turn it sideways, destroy it, and draw a card. That sounds horrible. Just one for one. You might say, oh, what if your opponent turns it sideways? I guess that's possible, but decks don't really do that because that's not really that useful. Book of Moon, that goes face down. Judge of the Ice Barrier, level 4, 1800 attack, and I need to scroll down to read this thing's effect. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, each time your opponent activates a card or effect by paying life points, they lose 500 life points. Activate a card or effect by paying life points, they lose 500 life points. Well, you have to control another Ice Barrier, and your opponent has to lose life points by a card they activate. Also, Judge, like, Solemn Judgment, okay. Anyway, you're going to use each following effects once a turn. Target 1 or 2 Ice Barrier monsters in graveyard, and 1 or 2 cards your opponent's graveyard. Shuffle them into the deck. Alright, Graveyard Disruption. If you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, and then target 1 attack position. Monster on the field changes defense position. So, it's a little bit of life point damage, if your opponent is already taking life point damage. Graveyard Disruption, and I guess synergy with this card? What's that combo? I know there's a really cool FTK you can do to make a loop where your opponent has a monster in their field. What is it called? It's a Synchro monster. They take damage anytime your opponent deals damage to you. Anytime you take damage, you take a little bit more damage. It's something like that, and you infinitely activate it. So you take damage, then you take more damage. This card sort of does the same thing, but really bad. If one already is taking damage, they take more. And its other effects are really bad as well. Our next card, level 4. I need to scroll down and read this. When you control another Ice Barrier monster, your opponent can't tribute summon. Cool, a floodgate. You're going to use each of the following effects per turn. You can discard 1 card, special summon Ice Barrier tuner from your deck. Also, you can special summon for the rest of the turn, except water monsters. I don't think we've gone over... just in case you're wondering, yeah. We haven't gone over tuning yet, so that comes later. If you would discard or send a card from your hand to the graveyard to activate an Ice Barrier monster effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Okay, then. So you're gonna do pretty much nothing for its last effect. You get a summoned tuner to an attack for pretty much a 1-for-1. And technically a floodgate, but no one's really tributing except like Flu. Except Flu, but you can use one field spell to make it so your opponent can't tribute summon. Dance Princess of the Ice Barrier, level 4. You can see the stats there. I need to scroll down to read this properly. Once per turn, if you control another Ice Barrier monster, you can reveal any number of Ice Barrier monsters in your hand. Then target the equal number of sets or trap cards your opponent controls, return those targets to the hand. So, if you have a bunch of cards in your hand, return a bunch of stuff to your opponent's hand. Not bad. Yeah, it works, technically. If it allowed you to do your cards, well, that would be broken. Probably. Scientist of the Ice Barrier. 1616, level 4, water spellcaster. Once per turn, you can send one Ice Barrier monster from your hand to the graveyard to draw one card. So it's like Samurai, but better. Just when it's the archetypal cycle. Get one card, bring a new card. Now, next monster, this one also nothing we've gone over is a tuner yet. So where's our tuners? Our next one's a spirit monster. Zombie water. 1612. I need to slow down. Reads the effect properly. Can't be special summoned. Makes sense. Has the spirit effect, which means it returns to the hand during the end phase is normal or flip summoned, which means only this is an effect. Everything else is just spirit stuff. If you control an Ice Barrier monster, this card, and if you control another Ice Barrier monster, this card's end phase effect becomes target one monster your opponent controls, return to the hand. So it can turn to a bounce during the end phase. That's not bad. Pilgrim of the Ice Barrier. Scott here, he can't be destroyed by battle with a monster of 1,900 or more attack. He is 1,500, so if you were able to give him 400 additional attack, he becomes indestructible by battle. Or give him 1,900 defense, now he can't be destroyed by battle. Because he can't be destroyed by a battle, monster with 1,900 or more can't be destroyed by a battle with something that has less stats in it, so it's unstoppable. Although you need more than just battle protection. This thing doesn't look right. It's a water insect, level 4, you can see its stats. When this card's number 7, you can select one unused monster zone. This card while this card's face up, that selected monster zone can't be used. Not bad, actually. Prevents your opponent from using zones. Next, we've got a pretty good defense, Water Spellcaster, where once per turn, you can send one Ice Barrier monster from your hand to the graveyard. Neither player can activate spell cards until the end of your next turn while this card is on the field. Wow. So I know that card earlier that was a level 6? Or, yeah, I think it's level 6. That made it so your opponents can only activate one spell. This stopped all of them. Stopped you too. So, yeah, but stops your opponent from using all of them. What's that card? It's banned. There's a little dinosaur on it. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. Next, I hate this card art. Always makes me weird when I look at it. The little dog, fox, cat thing looks always too realistic. Maybe that's the wrong word to use. It's in a different art style than everything else. It's weird. Water Spellcaster. You can see the stats. Level 4. From 2021. Wow. And I'm just go down and read the effect because God forbid there's going to be an Ice Barrier with a really long effect. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, defense position monsters your opponent control can't change their battle position. Not bad. Way to start a card. Except that it's an Ice Barrier card, so it's a pretty bad floodgate. All it does is stop defense position monsters from going to attack position. Like, maybe it was all monsters from changing battle position. That would be interesting, but nope. If you control an ice barrier monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you control an ice barrier monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon that token to your field. You could create yourself a tiny little token. It's for you having to look at this card's art, not worth playing. Shock Trooper of the Ice Barrier. You can see the stats, level 3. You contribute this card, then target one water monster on the field, destroy it. And if you do, add one Ice Barrier monster from your deck to your hand. Destroys any water monster. There's that Xyz monster, I think it's rank 4 monster that turns everything into water. You summon this to your field, tribute itself, then destroy your opponent's water monster and an Ice Barrier from your deck to your hand. Not bad. Although that does take a lot of cards, and you're probably doing that on your first turn. And finally, praise whoever made this. We finally get a tuner in the deck. You know, the big Synchro deck. A Synchro deck. We finally get a tuner. You can see the stats. Once while face up on the field, you can discard one card and declare one attribute. This card becomes the declared attribute, but can't attack this card. Cards of that declared attribute can't attack this card. So you have fire. It's now can't be attacked by fire. It's a tuner, so it's probably not staying on the field for long. Warlock of the Ice Barrier, someone who looks like they would be a tuner, but they're not a tuner, makes it so. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, both players must set spell trap cards before activating them, and can't activate them the turn they're set. So there's a trap card that does exactly this thing without having to waste your normal summon. So it's useless. And we can do another tuner, level 3. It's an aqua water. You can see its stats. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, your opponent, monsters your opponent control can't declare an attack if their attack is greater than or equal to their defense. This card's defense. So you have 16 for its defense. Anything has more than 16 attack, it can't attack. If you have 1650, too bad. You have to have, 1550 or less? Just to be able to attack. Although, technically, if a monster was released with 1,599 attack, that would be hilarious. It would be really funny. It's probably never going to happen, but it would be allowed to attack. And if you reduce its defense somehow, it can also attack. It's a tuner, so it's not staying on your field for long, but it's still a floodgate. That's what the deck does. Next is a tuner, level 2. 0 defense, because he doesn't need it, because it's not staying on your field for long. While you control another Ice Barrier. Level 4 or higher monsters can't declare an attack. Alright, means yours as well, by the way. And you have to control another Ice Barrier. So, if you have, I don't know, I would say this thing, but it's a lot of your other cards are battle floodgates. So it's a battle floodgate, and I hate its art, by the way. I really hate most of the Ice Barrier cards' art. It just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit itself. Like, look at this thing. Then look at this thing's art. They don't match at all. Anyway, horrible card. Oh, it's only useful as a tuner. I accidentally opened 2 of them. Next one is another tuner. If the only face-up monster you control are level 2 or lower, this card can attack your opponent directly. Combo with this and this, meaning every turn your opponent takes 1,200 damage, meaning your opponent's on about a 7-turn clock. You put your opponent on a 7-turn clock after you normally summon 2 different cards. Oh, yeah, another tuner. Next, non-tuner, aqua water, level 2, blah blah blah. I have to scroll down to read its effect, because again, God forbid there be short text. If you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can't special summon any level 5 or higher monsters the turn you special summon this card for a Synchro deck, who big point is to Synchro summon a bunch of higher level Synchro monsters. Can't Synchro summon. You contribute this card, then target one Ice Barrier monster you control, except copies of this, special summon it. Okay, so it's Graveyard Revival. And that's about it. At least they did not make it a tuner. Because, God forbid, the Synchro deck having a tuner. Then, of the Ice Barrier from 2021, not bad. You can see stats there. You can this card special minimum level 5 or higher Ice Barrier monster from your hand. Okay, so you can get some general from your hand. Cool. If this card in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can target one level 3 water monster you control, reduce its level by 2, and if you do, special summon this card by banishing when it leaves the field. Okay, not bad actually. It wouldn't be bad if it was a tuner. I think we've gone over like 3 or 5 tuners at this point in the Ice Barrier deck. And we don't have that many more cards to go, by the way. Our next monster, Secret Guards of the Ice Barrier. Your opponent can't target Ice Barrier monsters you control with monster effects. So earlier we can get no attacks, no monster effects, and no spell track card effects. Next, Sea Serpent. So Sea Serpent is just dragon, but worse. Once per turn, you can target 2 Ice Barrier monsters in your graveyard, shuffle both of them into the deck, then each player draws 1 card. Actually, this is a pretty good card. You could put back cards in your graveyard that you don't need, and draw a card. Not bad. Next, finally, we got a tuner. You can see its stats there, its effect. While you control another Ice Barrier monsters your opponent control lose 500 attack and defense during your main phase. You can send 1 level 3 or lower Ice Barrier monster from your deck to the graveyard. And if you do, this card's level becomes the same as the monster until the end of the turn. So, get some level modulation. I guess you reduce attack a little bit, but mostly the level modulation is the most important part. Next we get, if this card is destroyed by battle, inside the graveyard, draw a card. Useless. Finally, we get into the Synchro monsters. Trishula Zero, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. A level 11 Synchro monster. Think about that. 11. Did you see the amount of tuners we had? Those tuners were not high level, so we needed to use a lot of monsters to make this. 2 or more monsters. While this card is Synchro Summon, you can banish up to 3 cards your opponent controls. If the Synchro Summon card in someone's control is destroyed by opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier from your extra deck or graveyard. Its attack becomes 3,300, then half the attack of any face-up monster your opponent controls. Amazing, actually. Especially because this card, you see its stats, it takes 2 non-tuners plus a tuner. When this card is Synchro Summoned, you can target a card on the field, hand, and graveyard, banish them all. And the card in the hand is random. Only on Synchro Summon though, so not special. One of the cards that even errata, just to be allowed into the format. Once per turn, you can discard up to 2 cards to the graveyard, then target the same number of cards your opponent controls, destroy them. Sorry, I was talking about this one that needs the errata. I completely forgot about this thing. I right before this, I vaguely went over all the cards to myself, and I still forgot about it. It's that bad. This one, Brainiac, level 6, blah blah blah. You can discard any number of cards to the graveyard, then target the same number of cards your opponent controls, return them to the hand. You only do that once per turn. This one needs errata to come into the format. Now, the spells and traps. There is a reason why I don't go over big archetypes usually. This video is already 24 minutes long. Wind or the Ice Barrier. Should be any number of Ice Barrier monsters special summon from your deck that many level 4 or lower Ice Barrier monsters with different names on each other during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Ice Barrier that is banished or in your graveyard, add to your hand. Okay. So you get to choose different cards. You just get to cycle through. You get to take the cards in your field, turn them into different monsters. That's about it. Our next one, Magic Triangle of the Ice Barrier. It's a normal spell. Reveal 3 Ice Barrier monsters with different names in your hand, then target one card your opponent controls, destroy that target, and if you do, special summon 1 Ice Barrier monster from your hand. Now, when I do say this archetype is bad, and I don't like it, I'm not, and the art's really bad, I'm not saying that it's impossible to play. I bet there's someone out there that can make this deck work. It has a lot of floodgates, some powerful synchro monsters, but what it doesn't have is any way to be able to consistency. Add one Ice Barrier monster from your deck to your hand. Oh, wait. Consistency. I found it. The one card in the entire deck that can add any card to your hand, as long as the monster in an Ice Barrier. Mirror of the Ice Barrier. It's a quick play. During this turn, each time a card is banished from the hand, field, and or graveyard, by your opponent's effect monster, apply the following effects based on the cards banished from hand. You can banish 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. Field, banish 2 cards from your opponent's field. Graveyard, banish 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. This is not used if you're playing Ice Barriers. This is used if your opponent is playing Ice Barrier. Then Freezing Cylinder of Ice Barrier. Continuous spell. While this card is activated, you can target 1 level 4 lower Ice Barrier in graveyard, special summon it. While you control level 3 or lower Ice Barrier, while you control 3 or more Ice Barriers, Ice Barrier monsters you control are unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters that are special summon next protection and I guess it's archetype Reborn and protection in 1. And then finally, sort of. It's a trap. Not technically named Ice Barrier, but it's an Ice Barrier card. Apply these effects in sequence depending on the number of Ice Barrier synchro monsters you control, with different names. 1, banish 1 card your opponent controls. 2, banish 1 card from your opponent's graveyard. 3, or more, banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can target an Ice Barrier synchro monster you control. That is, you can banish this card from your graveyard and negate activation. So you can negate your opponent's monster. It's allowing me to negating the graveyard, as long as you control an Ice Barrier synchro. Finally, a card called Ice Barrier, but it's not a part of the archetype. Not really. And now, there's some cards that, as you can see, this is normally how I'm reading out the cards. But these ones don't have that out yet. Let's start with this one, Swordsman of the Ice Barrier. Level 6, 2000, blah, 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 tuner, blah, blah, blah. Winged Beast, ugh. But it doesn't have bad art. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, your opponent can't activate the effect of monsters in the graveyard. Not bad. That's just Knuckle Valley, but not bad. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If you control an Ice Barrier, you can special summon this card from your hand defense mode. Not bad. If this card's normal special, you can special level 5 or lower Ice Barrier from your hand or grave. Not bad. Next, we get Mirror Magic Master of the Ice Barrier. Level 2 Tuner. You contribute 1 other effect monster. You can't special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Water Synchros. Also special summon up to 3 Ice Barrier Tuner tokens. You can see them on the field. You can see them. They're all level 1. This one's a level 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you do, increase this card's level by the same number. 6, 7, 8. So you get 8 levels on the field with just 1 card. Not interesting. It does take you treating another monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Ice Barrier card that is banished or in your deck to your hand, except a copies of itself. And then a trap card, Continuous Trap. Freezing Domain, Landing of the Ice Barrier, Rain over the Frosted Heavens. Your opponent can't activate card or effects in response to activation of Ice Barrier cards. Amazing. If a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, you can return one Ice Barrier monster you control to the hand or deck, then you can place one card from the field or graveyard on the bottom of the deck. Let me read that again. If a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, you can return one Ice Barrier monster you control to the hand or deck. So get rid of the card on your hand or field. Then place one card on the field or in the graveyard at the bottom of the deck. It says the field, so you summon a monster, you get rid of one of your cards, and all you gotta do is get rid of opponent's card. And this is the newest support, by the way. Once per turn, during the end phase, reveal 3 Ice Barrier monsters with different names. When you select destroy them. Or destroy this card. So you have to reveal a whole bunch of cards just to activate this. Now, this card, I think I forgot to go over this. Anyway, once per turn, you can reveal any number of cards. One of these, now, this card in the errata. This one, you can, it's as many times as it is now, you can only do your opponent's cards but once per turn. And that's however many times you want per turn. Lance Dragoon Archer of the Ice Spirit Monster. Level 10 takes a water tuner plus one or more non-tuners. Once per chain, whoa. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can special summon one Ice Barrier monster from your hand, deck, extract, or graveyard. That's amazing. Don't forget, a lot of our monsters are just walking floodgates. So that is amazing. Then you can change one opponent's attack position, monster, defense position. You can only use each of the following effects of this card once per turn. Twice per turn, actually. You're going to use that effect once per turn. Twice. If this face-up Synchro summoned card in Zona's control leaves the field by an opponent's card, you can special summon one Ice Barrier and Synchro monster from your extra deck, ignoring summoning conditions. So we get a summon a card to our field. We get where is it? Twice per turn we can summon anything from our deck to our field. And if it leaves our field, we can get a Trishula. Or I guess it doesn't have to be lower, so you can get like absolute 0 Trishula out to your field. That's actually not that bad. But if anyone wants to leave in the comments of a 1-card combo to summon this to your field, I'm all ears. But right now oh, look at that. There's so much snow outside. I guess Trishula's in my town. I guess I will have to if the only way I can survive is if you top deck that subscribe button. Come on, you can do it. You're only missing one piece of Exodia. If you can draw that final piece of Exodia, you can win this duel. And, ooh, that's not Exodia. That's Santa Claus. Not Santa Claus. Claus. Good luck next time.